Make no mistake about it, my attention has been focused on the Atlantic Ocean for quite some time now, thanks to a small isolated island owned by Norway. That island, of course, being Bovet Island. We really have to get these videos out there. We really have to start sharing these videos, not just my videos, but videos that are produced by Into Thin Air, Glamham Radio over on TikTok, and others who are talking about what is happening on Bovet Island. There is clear weather manipulation, weather modification taking place in this location. Now, when it comes to Hurricane Beryl over in the Atlantic Ocean, so far from what we know, it is making its way over to Jamaica. And when it comes to big media and the comment sections of these same medias, the narrative is being set that Hurricane Beryl formed from climate change. They are trying to push out the climate change agenda as fast as possible, and we have to make sure we're staying on top of them because we know what has been taking place over in the Atlantic Ocean is manufactured. Now, Bovet Island has become very popular lately thanks to this massive anomaly, this massive blob that has been seen forming over this island on weather applications like Ventusky. And as I've shown in previous videos, every time this massive anomaly would appear, about a couple days before and a couple days after, some very weird weather would also appear as well. So going back to Hurricane Beryl, we now have news that Hurricane Beryl becomes earliest Category 5 storm on record hours after pummeling windward islands. Hurricane Beryl strengthened to 160 miles per hour Monday evening, surpassing 2005's Hurricane Emily as the earliest Category 5 storm to form in the Atlantic Ocean. The storm has since strengthened even further. With that being said, Hurricane Beryl is without a doubt the most powerful hurricane in history for the time it has developed. So with that, we have news and media running articles how the climate drove Hurricane Beryl into being a Category 5. For instance, this article from Forbes, Hurricane Beryl, a climate-driven superstorm, threatens the Caribbean. This article from the NPR, record temperatures driven by climate change help fuel Hurricane Beryl. This is from NBC News, how climate change connects to Hurricane Beryl's rapid intensification. So like I said, this is the narrative that news and media are going with, climate change, and this needs to stop. Let's go ahead and go back over to Ventusky. Just 6 days, less than a week before Hurricane Beryl forms in the Atlantic Ocean, you can see this massive air pressure starting to form directly over Bovet Island. Whatever this is that is seen coming directly out of Bovet Island, this massive ring, has an air pressure so low that it's comparable to a Category 5 hurricane. The same category that is Hurricane Beryl. So going based off Ventusky and other weather applications, it looks like Hurricane Beryl was not the earliest Category 5 hurricane to develop. Whatever this is over Bovet Island was the earliest Category 5 hurricane to develop, if not stronger. Going by definition, this massive hurricane that is seen popping out of Bovet Island starts to head east, then eventually by June 25th starts to disappear altogether. Also, it should be very important to note that this hurricane over Bovet Island rapidly intensified in 48 hours, the same time frame that Hurricane Beryl also rapidly intensified, from a depression to a Category 5 hurricane in 48 hours. Then on June 26th, we can start to see Hurricane Beryl starting to form directly north of Bovet Island. Now, what's an odd quote-unquote coincidence is that every time this massive anomaly, this massive blob, is seen over Bovet Island and it starts to travel, it always travels north, in the direction that Hurricane Beryl is starting to form, west of the coast of Africa. It always seems to end around this location. The hurricane popping out of Bovet Island was not the only weird weather activity to happen recently on Bovet Island. There was also a 5.6 magnitude earthquake that happened on June 29th. So with that being said, is Bovet Island just a very unlucky place where terrifying weather just happens back to back, or are we definitely looking at some kind of weather manipulation taking place on this island? Well, here's the thing. This earthquake that was seen around this location could indeed provide further proof that they are generating hurricanes on Bovet Island. The reason behind that is because it is known that hurricanes can trigger earthquakes. Very large low pressure changes like what was seen over Bovet Island associated with major storm systems like hurricanes are known to trigger episodes of fault slip, slow earthquakes in the Earth's crust, and may also play a role in triggering some damaging earthquakes. This all goes hand in hand. We have the significant low pressure seen over Bovet Island comparable to a Category 5 hurricane, and then a few days later, there's an earthquake reported near Bovet Island. Then a couple days later, after the severe low pressure that formed over Bovet Island, we have this record-breaking hurricane, Hurricane Beryl, forming in the Atlantic north of Bovet Island. Nobody will look at this. Nobody will connect the dots. Nobody will speak out besides a minority of people, because what I'm talking about is crazy talk. Weather manipulation is crazy talk, even though they have shown us time and time again to our face they can manipulate and control the weather.
You could fire a laser at the sky and make it rain. Oh, that sounds more interesting. Dave Malkoff explains.
Just another stormy, wet afternoon in Central Florida. But what if you could pick up all this rain and move it where it's needed? Texas or California? What if a laser could start the rain?
So you can almost use it to set it off.
Matt Mills got into lasers as a kid.
It's just innately cool.
Now he's part of a team of scientists and military backers on the cutting edge of a new technology, making lasers powerful enough to reach up here into the sky where a thunderstorm is just about to start. In the near future, a push-button storm starter could be a real thing.
Just imagining this situation. If there was a rain cloud that was going to pass over an area of drought and not rain, you could, theoretically induce the rain and get the rain where it's needed.
That storm starter isn't the laser beam itself, but rather a popping energy that comes off of much higher power beams than this one. The problem is those pops have always had trouble getting into the sky. Now Matt has discovered a way to get the laser to pop all the way in the clouds. In theory, that's what starts a storm.
We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive.
Let's just have them blindly follow along with the agenda, the narrative of climate change, global warming, because there's very good money in it. And not only that, we can create different policies and laws to ultimately control the population, while at the same time we are creating these monsters over on Bovet Island and different islands like Bovet Island. Look at these comments from either bots or people that are completely in denial of weather manipulation. I am reading these comments from Yahoo News. Yahoo News created an article titled "Hurricane Beryl strengthens into Category 5 as it churns towards Jamaica." Never has a Category 5 hurricane formed this early in hurricane season. Strong hurricanes need very warm water to form. They typically form late in the hurricane season, after the summer season has warmed the tropical and Gulf waters. Did I not say when it came to my previous videos on Bovet Island and its massive blob that was seen coming out of Bovet Island and traveling north, that what we are seeing is heat? What the satellites are picking up is heat. It's energy. They are heating up the waters. This person continues to say that, but of course climate change is not happening. According to climate change deniers, the climate change deniers believe that if they ignore the facts about climate change and deny the reality of what is happening, the facts and reality are eliminated. This is how deniers say climate change is not happening. Or perhaps if you do a little bit more research and not blindly follow the media and politicians, you will see that they are creating these monsters from locations again like Bovet Island. It's easy to see. Climate change is such the massive scapegoat. Not only can they use the weather to cause such massive destruction whenever they like, but they can also fool the public into believing is just climate change. That's all you see throughout the comment section of these big media articles. The same talking points, climate change deniers, and then they mix in politics with it, such as this one. If you are wondering where all the climate change deniers are, they are over on the Supreme Court, celebrating the fact they just turned our presidency into a kingship. So man-made global warming is happening in front of us every day, every year, every decade. Why are Trump Republicans still in denial? So you can tell people, don't you find it a little weird that days before Hurricane Beryl, randomly popping out of Bovet Island was this Category 5 hurricane traveling eastward, and in the same location there was this earthquake. Prior to all this, there was this random heat traveling north of Bovet Island. Don't you find that to be a little bizarre? And they'll just call you a conspiracy theorist nutjob and a MAGA Republican climate change denier, because this is what they read on Yahoo News articles and other articles like it, with these articles titled How Climate Change is Creating These Superstorms. All I know is I am going to keep my eyes on Bovet Island, because it seems like every time there's an anomaly that appears on Bovet Island, weird weather follows. In any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.